All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the April 29th, 2025 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG-Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are uploaded and recorded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. All right, let's get started. Announcements. I think the 133 release is out now. So I think had some good work that went in, both just in terms of cleanup and in terms of new functionality for the 133 release. So that's a good job to everybody who helps contribute to that. All right, next, is there if anybody has anything else they'd like to announce, feel free to either add it or just speak up. If not, we usually give some space if there's any new contributors who want to say hi. I think most everybody here has seen before, but I'll pause for a minute if anybody wants to either unmute or raise their hand and introduce themselves. All right, I see some agenda items being added around stability. I think we talked about that a little bit before the recording got started, but I'm gonna pick that up again. Do you want to kind of briefly describe the issue again?
Yes, sure. So the thing is, I'm investigating a kubelet crash. Currently, this kubelet crash is limited to only one instance type for now, M7i, one of the instance types of EC2, right? And this crash happens, this is happening consistently, that kubelet is crashing consistently. And this happens around whenever I'm testing storage related test cases, for example, EBS or even SMB test case, right? So first I deploy the drivers SMB or EBS driver, that works fine. Kubelet doesn't crash. Right when I start to deploy uh, the application container, which is trying to mount EBS volume or SMB volume, at that time kubelet crashes, and it is consistently crashing. Like every time I deploy it, it crashes. Either it crashes during deployment or when pod is going down. So yeah, so we have lot of I tried multiple theories to pinpoint what could be causing it. I added cube reserved for kubelet. I thought maybe OS is killing the kubelet process. I added cube reserved constraints for the kubelet. That didn't work out. Kubelet still crashed. Then we have stack traces of the crash. And I'm trying to go through them. But the problem with stack traces is, like, since there are multiple routines, Go routines, there are a lot of stack traces from each of those routines, and it's hard to pinpoint to specific routine or a specific thing which caused that crash. And since kubelet is at that time, I think, in constant communication with CSI proxy as well, so I'm not sure, what is really happening, what message from CSI proxy, if that is really uh, is causing it. Like if CSI proxy is sending some message and then it is causing kubelet to crash or something. So yeah, like I'm still in the middle of this thought process. I'm still trying to figure out what could be it. Like, any help here, any idea that I can explore to.
And the same CSI drivers are being deployed successfully on other instance types. Is that correct?
Yes. Same kubelet, same CSI proxy works on every other instance type without any crash at all.
Uh,
Do like Is there any way where, so I have enabled debug logging as well on kubelet. I'm still trying to do that actually. Like, I haven't successfully enabled it yet. But yeah, I think by today, I think I will be able to have more debug logs from kubelet and then from CSI proxy to see the actual communication happening, and then probably we can work back. I will work backwards from that. But is there any other thing we can do here, like with kubelet, or is there a good way to actually read the stack traces from kubelet? Like, how do we usually do it?
Can you share the
I
stack
see James
traces?
smiling. Do you want to go, Claudio, too?
Can you share the stack traces as well? it might be useful in that scenario.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that the entire kubelet crashes when simply trying to mount one volume. So something might happen, an irrecoverable error in that scenario. Um, Sounds quite strange if it happens only on one instance. But for
Yeah.
example, if you try to spawn a pod for the same volume on another node, does that work?
I'm sorry, can you please, I didn't get that question.
Sorry, I was asking if you try to spawn a pod with the same volume on another node, does that work or does it crash as well?
So I haven't tried the same volume, but let's say if I rerun the same test case on a different instance type, like for example T3, then the whole test case works fine without any kubelet crash.
I'm not familiar with all of the different like instance types. Is there anything special about the M7I types? Or what kind of families are either does the M or this I indicate for the
Y-
EC2 instances?
Yeah, actually, that is the thing. Like, I don't, I personally like don't know the like specific details, but like the difference is really in the processor. M7i is using Intel Xeon processor, and then T3 is some other processor. Other than that, I don't know if M7i is specialized for any specific kind of computation. Like M7 is in general, if we just read the that's what I did, like just reading the public doc, it says that it is more for running like parallel computing, multi-threaded application or something like that. Whereas T3 is like general computing. So other than these two things, uh, yeah, these are the only two things which are special for with M7i.
Okay, one other question. Is this happening across all of the different versions of Kubernetes, or have you only tested one of the versions? I'm
So
just wondering if there's any difference to the
yeah,
um
yeah, I tried 1.32 and 3.1. I haven't tried the older versions, and I have tried the latest patches. I think I even haven't tried the older patches from 3.2 or 3.1. That is another thing I want to explore actually, but it's just that I've been exploring other theories for now. Yeah, I will probably do that as well sometime today just to see if something changed recently or something.
Yeah, I mean I know that during some of the releases we changed the Golang versions, and that did change the behavior for some of the eval symlink work,
Mm,
which is used for in some of the the code to look for named pipes and things like that, which the CSI drivers would use to communicate. I
mm,
believe that we should be like, even though we did update the Golang types, there was some work to initially, I believe at the end of 132, there was the Go compatibility flag in the Go mod files for for the kubelet that should have preserved the same behavior. And then I believe it was in 133 that code changes were made to react to the Golang changes.
mm.
Um, so if you're seeing it in 132, I'd be more surprised if that was the issue, because that should be the same behavior as all of the releases prior to that. But yeah, I see, James, you've got your hand, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, that's a great point because I think we initially saw the problem in 132 on uh, Go. It was GCE's volume mounting tests failed when that happened. So it's something to keep in the back of your mind. Um,
Mm.
I was just going to, I don't have any specific things, but I could potentially just give you a couple tips on how I typically end up debugging these things. I don't know of any special tricks to read Go routines. If anybody knows those, that would be fantastic. I would love to learn. But I typically just kind of slowly parse them and throw away the parts that you don't care about, and eventually you'll find your bug. At least that's how I've done it in the past. You had mentioned you were turning on debugging. Are you turning on like the
Verbosity
logging?
levels.
Yeah, the verbosity level. Is that what do you mean by the debug log?
Yeah, like I'm changing the verbosity like to I think V5 when running.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest is that's where you're going to get the most without being completely overwhelmed. You go much beyond 5, it starts to get overwhelming with because they
Yeah,
do object
4
dumps
or
and things.
5 are usually enough to get a lot of details, but not too much.
Yeah, and then the other thing I end up doing is just doing a lot of print statements of my own and building my own kubelet off those versions, um, and and seeing if I can narrow down into what it's going. It sounds like you can reproduce this exactly like on the spot. Is that right?
Yeah, the thing is, I can see the crash, but not at the same time. Like sometimes crash happens during the deployment of application container. Sometimes it happens during when it is going down. So the instance, the time in the specific point in time is not the same across different crashes. But I do see a crash with every test deployment, every test I run.
All right, yeah, and that's just the asynchrony of like the way that kubelet processes things and
Yeah, the
Kubernetes
pre-polling
processes
is
things.
a
So
lot.
I think that, and that's why I end up doing printf debugging most of the time. I have hooked up a debugger to kubelet before and have successfully kind of processed things that way too. I think you just need to pass a couple extra parameters to the make command when you're building the kubelet. And then yeah, and then you can attach delve to it. And that's another way to go about debugging these things. So
And do we
yeah.
have any like some documentation or some run book or even your personal blog around debugging it, like adding a debugger or something like that?
This is the number one requested thing that I think I could probably write up as a blog. I don't have it. I have it in like my own personal notes.
Mm.
Um, uh, but maybe I'll this will prompt me because I end up sharing that quite a bit. I can share it with you the raw
Mm.
notes, but
Yeah, thank you so much. That will be good. Thank you.
yeah.
Uh,
All right.
correct me if I'm wrong, but for example, if an application crashes, would you even see the exact error in the logs, or you would more rather see it in the standard out and standard error outputs? And I'm not sure if the Windows service captures those, or is something that you would actually see in the log file.
The
Any
stack.
idea? In general, I was basically wondering if anyone knows.
You
So
should see those in the kubelet logs, as far as I know,
Mhm.
because the way the kubelet is set up, it doesn't write to ETW or any Windows specific logging mechanism. So they all should be shown in the kubelet logs. But the other thing I was going to say is I was looking at the message you posted, Kulwant, and you've posted the stack trace, but I think what might be useful is the whole kubelet log, just for the context of what's going on.
uh,
The one thing you can do is, right, there's actually in the stack trace, there are file names mentioned, and it shows which line number in those files caused the errors to happen. So what you can start doing is go look at the file, go to that line number and see. So for example, right, I took a quick look at the log and it is looking at, sorry, I have to change screens here. I can see that there's a select runtime select.go starting. which is what kicks everything off. So you can start, actually going to those files and looking at, hey, what is the kubelet trying to do at that point? And why is it causing it to go? Because just looking at the log, it seems like there's some runtime error happening, which is, so is this an AMD processor on these instances?
So this one is Intel Xeon processor. Actually, the AMD one works fine. And that is a different instance type. It works
Oh
fine.
yeah. So yeah. I forget that they still sometimes people call AMD 64, which is common across x86 64. So maybe that's why I was doing it, thinking that way. But I took a quick look at the stack trace, and there are places that you can try and figure out in the code itself. There's a thing which says runtime/select.go line number 335. I'm not sure where this runtime/select.go is, whether it's kubelet or is it from another library, but you would have to start tracing at that level to figure out what's going on. But it'll also help the community, or like I think Claudio was asking for the stack trace, right? But it's not just the stack trace, but you need the context around the stack trace to figure out what's really going wrong. So that might really help if you can post that in that thread that you have started.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I will add the whole like debug logs even for kubelet CSI proxy, and then they will have stack traces as well. And if anybody have time, please take a look and probably suggest something. Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it from my side for now. James, like whenever you get time, please do share the instructions.
Yeah. I was just quickly, I missed the Slack thread, but just looking through the log quick, like you can see like different Go routines dump different stuff, and some of it you can just throw away. Like I'm looking at one that's doing like a kubelet update to the API server. Like that one you can just kind of like get it out of your way, and that's kind of how I do it. I don't know if there's better way to do it. And then you get down to like a dozen of them, and then you're like, oh, okay, I kind of know where things are going, and you can go look at the code like Arvind said. And it's a slow process, at least.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to actually understand. Like this seemed like very slow process. I thought like maybe we have some better way to actually manage it. Like, but it seems like this is the only way. Yeah, I will do it. I mean, for now.
Yeah, hooking up the debugger is probably the faster way if you can do that.
Yeah, I will explore that as well. Thank you. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss in the last couple minutes? If not, we could.
Yeah, I actually have two simple questions.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, first, so that after 1.33 is released, that means master branch is open to for checking and PR, right?
Yeah, I believe it's open now.
Okay. Okay. The second, how to raise a hand in here? I'm not able to find how to raise my hand.
Zoom moved it on you. It's under the React button with the heart.
Yeah.
React is only.
Don't click on the little up button, but click on the actual heart.
Oh, okay.
Reactions, raise hands.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But not the button. Okay.
And it'll change next month. So.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like there's a big change recently.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. If anybody has any other questions, meanwhile, know where to reach us on Slack. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, team, for suggesting all the things. I will look into it and probably share something next week with the team if there is any new learning I have.
Yep, sounds good. Yeah, it'd be good to report back.
Thank you. Bye.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye.
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 Okay, bye.